Hey, I'm Kelsey Fulton, and this is my Module 1 project. So the first model I'm going to talk about is the Launch, Explore, Discuss model. So you first go into Launch, which is about 5 minutes long, and that's when the teacher is going to pose a task or a question, activate prior knowledge for the students, make connections to the real world, kind of see what's relevant in the problem that they are going to solve, and give them their expectations for this problem. Then you get into Explore, which would be 10 to 15 minutes roughly. And in Explore, you're going to let the students work on their problem their own. So they're going to come up with how they would like to solve something, what their strategies are, come up with their own answers. This could be in small groups or on their own, and it's really up to the students. It really encourages this productive struggle that they just get through it instead of getting answers from the teacher, and the teacher kind of just walks around the room and facilitates the learning. Once that part is over, then you get into Discuss, which is also going to be roughly 10 to 15 minutes. And this is when you're going to all get back together, and maybe some students will be chosen to explain to the rest of the class or demonstrate for the rest of the class how they got their answer. The teacher might pick this based on 2 students who did something completely different but got the same answer, or 2 students that did the same thing but got different answers. And in this part, the students are just going to explain their solutions and their strategies, what did they use, and then the teacher can use all of that to have this discussion, make connections, expand on anything that needs to be expanded on, and then kind of bring closure to the math concept, or leave it for later if it's something that needs to be addressed again. So that's a summary of the Launch, Explore, Discuss model. Then I'm going to talk about math stations. So math stations are pretty straightforward. The students are going to work in groups that are chosen by the teacher. The groups can be chosen by standardized test scores, maybe just formative assessments, or students that the teacher knows can help each other, maybe stronger students and something with lower level students about the same concept, something like that. And students are given different tasks at every station. This gives us teacher a chance for differentiation, either with the content. Are there some students who aren't learning something, who need extra practice with something, extra help with something, or do we just need to differentiate the level of the problem? So are some students still kind of struggling, and are some students really advanced and they can do more advanced problems? I think that usually the teacher, one of the stations in the math stations, one of the stations would be to work with the teacher, and this gives the teacher more one-on-one time with maybe 3 or 4 students, so not really one-on-one, but time to work with a small group on something that this teacher knows that they need help with. Or this could be a good time for formative assessments to see where the students are. All right, and then that brings me to the gradual release model. And this model is kind of the I do, we do, you do it together, and then you do it alone. So first you start with a focused instruction. That's going to be the I do. So that's going to be when the teacher models a problem, models a concept, tells them, explains the purpose. It's a whole class, so you're just kind of explaining something, giving this instruction to the class. Basically just your lesson. So then you get to the guided instruction, and that's when you're going to be the students will be in small groups. This is going to give you a good chance for differentiation among your students, and this is almost always done by formative assessments. So just based on what the teacher knows. So then this is going to be the we do part. The teacher will help with the different groups. Then you get to collaborative learning, which is you do together. So you're giving the students the chance to work together without you on a problem. So they're discussing their ideas and their strategies, they're sharing, maybe they're disagreeing, they're agreeing, whatever they're coming up with together, they're collaborating on this part together without the teacher. And then you get to you do it alone, which is their independent learning. The students are putting all these strategies, what they learned from their teacher, what they learned from their peers, what they found worked for them and their own strategies. They're putting all of this together to come up with how are they going to solve these problems. And for the gradual release model, it doesn't have to be linear. It doesn't have to go in this, it doesn't have to be I do, we do, you do together, you do alone. It could be kind of non-linear. You can mix it up a little. And then for similarities and differences, some similarities I found are that all the models provide structure to the math lesson. So you have this is what we're doing, this is going to be 5 minutes, this is going to be 10 minutes, whatever it is. It's providing this really nice structure. And I think that when you're using these over and over again, the students get used to that structure. I see a lot of teachers using timers and all of these things, and it really gives those kids they know exactly what they're expected of, what's expected of them. I've also found that all models are encouraging discussion and collaborative learning, so it's giving the students a chance to work together, to talk about their ideas, discuss their ideas, come up with, what do I think I'm doing right? What are my peers doing that maybe I'm not doing? What are they doing that I am doing? Do they have better ideas than me? So they're really collaborating on what they are able to do. And then it also provides, it encourages this productive struggle. So instead of a teacher sitting here and telling you, this is how you do it, this is how you get the answer, this is the right answer, it really is encouraging them to struggle and get through it on their own or together with their peers and really figure out how they are learning. And then all the models are working towards the goal of moving students to independence. So just how that productive struggle is an independent time for them to struggle, it's getting them to the point where they don't need even the collaboration, they don't need this teacher answers, they're getting to this place of independence. And I think all the models are really, that's the goal. Some differences, I noticed that the guided release provides direct instructions and the others do not necessarily. I think that you could fit in direct instruction in either the launch, explore, discuss or in stations, but guided release really provides that good opportunity for a teacher to stand up and just give a lesson, really give that direct instruction. And guided release doesn't have to be linear. Launch, explore, discuss really kind of does. It's kind of has to go in that order, I think. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it has to go in that order in order to make sense and be productive. But the guided release, you could kind of switch it up based on needs. And then stations don't provide the opportunity for classroom discussion like guided release or launch, explore, discuss would. You could always have a time after stations to discuss, but I don't think it would fit in necessarily in maybe your 15-minute stations. So Module 1 has been really helpful in giving me ideas for ways that I can structure math lessons in the future. Really placing emphasis on productive struggle and focusing on how students can work on problems and produce their own strategies and solutions all on their own instead of focusing on, do they have the correct answer? I've always kind of thought of math as there's only one way, there's only one answer. And this module, this class really has kind of opened my eyes to this can still be a subject where students can express some individuality. They can come up with their own strategies. They might come up with strategies you've never seen before, and they might be getting the right answer, right? So I think it's kind of refreshing to know that students can be encouraged to fail or kind of get the wrong answer. And that they are just encouraged to struggle through it, to come up with their own ways, to do what works for them. So I've really enjoyed this module. All right, thank you.